Welcome back, everyone. You ever notice how certain colors just kind of, hit you differently?
Uh-huh.
Like maybe you feel calmer in a blue room or more energized in a bright yellow space.
Yeah, totally.
Well, today we're going deep into the actual science of how color impacts our brains and bodies.
Wow,
I
fascinating.
know, right? We found this super cool study,
Yeah.
and it uses some pretty high-tech equipment, but
Yeah.
the questions they're asking are things we can all relate to, like do different colors really,
Hmm.
change how we think and feel?
Interesting.
And to help us unpack all the sciencey stuff, we've got an expert who can break it all down for us
Absolute.
and make sense, like for everyday life.
Well, I think what's so interesting about this study is that they're looking at something we all experience, right? But we might not think about it like, too deeply, how our bodies react to different colors.
Right.
We're talking like physical changes here, not just vibes.
Exactly. It's more than just, ooh, I like this color.
Right.
This is brain waves and nervous systems and all that.
Really gets into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, it's hardcore.
Yeah.
So one of the things that really jumped out at me from this study was this whole yellow light thing. They found that yellow light seemed to light up a specific part of the brain, and it was the left prefrontal cortex.
That's interesting.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So I've always thought of yellow as this cheerful color, creative energy.
Mhm.
But isn't the prefrontal cortex more about like logic and decision making?
Yeah, that's what makes this so interesting. I mean, this is the area that helps us plan, helps us focus, make choices. It's like our brain's command center.
Right.
And they saw this effect. They saw this effect mainly with yellow, not the other colors. So,
So hold on. Are you saying if I paint my home office yellow, I'll suddenly be super productive?
maybe. I mean, who knows? This is early research, right? It's like finding a clue, not the whole mystery solved.
Right.
But but it does raise some fascinating questions. What if yellow actually primes our brains for certain tasks? Like, how could we use that knowledge?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Okay, so brain stuff is definitely cool, but this study, they didn't just look at brain activity.
No.
They also tracked things like heart rate and skin conductance.
Right.
And that's a fancy way of measuring stress.
Exactly. They were looking at the autonomic nervous system, which is this really it's intricate. It's this web that controls all sorts of things we don't consciously think about, like heart rate, breathing, even digestion.
Oh, cool.
It's a big deal.
So are you saying that color could be messing with our chill without us even realizing it?
Potentially, yeah. And what's even wilder is they found a lot of these changes, these physiological changes, happened after the colored light was gone.
Wait, hold on. So you're telling me color has a lasting effect, even when you're not looking at it anymore?
It is. And it highlights something we often forget, that the spaces we're in, the colors we surround ourselves with, they might be impacting us long after we've left.
Okay, that is officially blowing my mind. This isn't just about picking a pretty paint color. This is about how we design our whole world for optimal brain and body function.
That's exactly right. It's bigger than we think.
Wow. Okay, so I'm dying to know, what about red and green light? Did they have any funky effects on the nervous system?
They did. The study found some differences in how they influenced that balance between our fight or flight and rest and digest systems. That push and pull between being alert and being calm.
So could certain colors literally be hitting the gas pedal or the brakes?
Yeah.
For our internal state?
That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, red light, for example, seemed to really encourage that rest and digest respect.
So maybe there's some science behind that, feeling of calm you get in a dimly lit restaurant.
That's what the research suggests, yeah. Of course, everyone experiences color a little differently, but this study, it points to some intriguing possibilities.
Okay, before I get too carried away and start designing my ultimate red light relaxation room, I got to ask, weren't there some caveats with this study? The whole, shining light through your skull thing to measure brain activity, that sounds kind of intense.
It is a little bit, yeah.
Didn't that make people uncomfortable?
Yeah.
And could that have messed with the result at all?
You bring up a valid point. The researchers did acknowledge that the equipment itself could have added some stress, even though they tried to minimize it. It's tough to completely isolate just the color's impact.
Okay, so it's not like we should all go redecorate based on this one study, but it definitely points to some fascinating areas for more research.
Absolutely. There's so much more to learn.
All right, well, let's take a quick pause here. When we come back, we'll unpack even more of this study's findings and see what they mean for you in your daily life. Welcome back to our deep dive, into the world of color and how it impacts us in ways we might not even realize.
Yeah.
I feel like we've already uncovered some pretty surprising stuff like
for sure.
Like how yellow light might actually boost our brain power.
Yeah.
And that the effects of color can linger even after we've left a room.
It's crazy, right?
It's wild.
Yeah.
Now we left off talking about the autonomic nervous system, the behind the scenes control center for things like heart rate and breathing and stress response, all that good stuff.
Right.
So what else did they find out about how different colors impact this system?
Well, one of the things they focused on was that, that constant push and pull between our fight or flight and rest and digest modes. How some things make us feel, wired and ready to go, while others make us want to, chill out and relax.
Right, like that nervous energy you get before a big presentation.
Yes.
Versus that sleepy feeling after a Thanksgiving feast.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that they found different colors. They seem to shift this balance in different ways.
Oh, wow.
For example, red light seemed to really encourage that rest and digest response.
So maybe there actually is some science behind that feeling of calm you get in like a dimly lit, cozy restaurant.
That's what the research is suggesting.
Interesting.
Of course, everyone experiences color differently, but this study points to some pretty intriguing possibilities.
Yeah, for sure. Now I'm curious about green light. Does being surrounded by greenery actually have an energizing effect, like everyone says?
That's a great question. The study did find that green light, it seemed to have a slightly stimulating effect, kind of tilting things a little bit more towards that fight or flight response.
Interesting. So maybe there is something to that whole, nature therapy idea.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not just about being outdoors, but also about the colors that we're exposed to when we're out in nature.
It's certainly food for thought. It makes you wonder how our evolutionary history of being surrounded by greenery might have shaped, how our bodies react to those colors.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so this is all pretty mind-blowing. So are you saying we might be able to like intentionally use colored light to hack our nervous systems and basically control our mood and energy levels?
Well, that's one of the exciting implications of this research. It opens up a whole new way of thinking about how we design, the spaces we live and work in.
Right. Imagine being able to design classrooms that help kids focus, or hospitals that promote healing, just by using the right colors.
It's pretty amazing to think about.
Yeah.
And as we learn more, we might even be able to personalize light based on individual needs and preferences.
Wow, that would be incredible. But before we, go full on sci-fi here, let's be realistic.
Yeah.
Are there any potential downsides to all this? Could messing with colored light backfire in some way? That's
a super important question.
Right.
Like with anything powerful, we need to be thoughtful about how we use it.
Right.
What works for one person might not work for another, and too much of anything can be a bad thing.
Right. So blasting yourself with red light all day might not be the best strategy for relaxation.
Probably not. It's about finding that balance and being mindful of how different colors impact you personally. We need more research to understand the long-term effects and to make sure we're using color in a way that supports well-being.
Yeah, it makes sense because even though sunlight is essential, too much of it can be harmful.
Exactly.
So are there certain people who might be like extra sensitive to colored light and need to be more careful?
Absolutely. People with certain medical conditions, those taking certain medications, older adults and young children whose visual systems are still developing, they might need to pay extra attention to how colored light affects them.
So like with anything else, it's all about being informed and making choices that are right for you.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned that this research focused on LEDs
Yeah.
specifically.
Right.
Why is that important? Aren't all lights pretty much the same?
That's a great point, and it gets to why this research is so timely.
Okay.
LEDs are everywhere now.
They are.
And they're rapidly replacing traditional light bulbs.
Yeah, so in our homes, our offices, even our phones, they're basically taking over the world.
They are. And that's why it's so crucial to understand how LEDs affect us, because they actually emit a different spectrum of light compared to older types of bulbs.
Wait, so even if an LED and an old incandescent bulb look like they're the same color,
Yeah.
the actual light waves that they're giving off might be different.
Exactly. And those subtle differences, they could have a big impact on how our bodies respond.
Wow.
It's a bit like how a banana and a lemon might both look yellow, but they taste completely different.
That's a good analogy.
Right.
Okay, now I'm really starting to see the light, pun intended. So what does all this mean for how we use LEDs in the future?
That's the $1 million question. As we learn more about the nuances of LED light and how it affects our biology, we might need to rethink how we design and use them.
Like, are there ways to make LEDs, healthier or more beneficial?
Potentially, yeah. We might need to pay more attention to the color temperature of LEDs. You know, how warm or cool the light looks,
Right.
because that can affect the balance of light waves they emit.
Right, like how some LEDs have that harsh bluish white light, while others are more mellow and yellowish.
Exactly. And we might also need to consider the intensity and duration of exposure, just like we talked about earlier. It's all about using this knowledge responsibly,
Yeah.
to create environments that truly support our well-being.
This has been a serious eye opener. Now I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the even bigger picture. What does the future hold for colored light and its role in our lives? Welcome back to the Deep Dives. We've been on quite a journey exploring how colored light can impact everything from our brainwaves to our stress levels.
It really has been.
I don't know about you, but I'm looking at light in a whole new way now.
Yeah, it is fascinating stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the more we learn, the more we realize how much we still don't know.
Exactly. We've talked about the potential benefits of using colored light intentionally, but also the importance of being mindful and avoiding a one size fits all approach.
For sure.
Now, I'm thinking back to something you mentioned earlier, this idea that LEDs, which are becoming the dominant light source,
Right.
they actually emit a different spectrum of light compared to older types of bulbs.
They do.
So even if an LED and an old school incandescent bulb look like they're the same color, the actual light waves they're giving off might be different.
That's right. Yeah.
So what does this mean for us as we're increasingly surrounded by LEDs? Could it have implications for our health and well-being?
Well, that's the big question researchers are grappling with right now.
Yeah.
We're in this transition period where LEDs are rapidly becoming the norm, but we're still catching up in terms of understanding their long-term effects.
So it's like we've jumped headfirst into this LED lit world without fully knowing the implications.
In a way, yeah. But that's often how technological advancements happen,
Right.
We adopt them quickly, and then we play catch up with the science.
So what are some of the things we should be paying attention to as we navigate this LED filled future?
Well, one thing to consider is the color temperature of LEDs.
You mean like how some LEDs have that cool bluish white light, while others have a warmer, more yellowish tone?
Exactly. That color temperature, it actually reflects the balance of wavelengths being emitted.
Okay.
And it can have a significant impact, on how our bodies respond.
That makes sense. We've already talked about how blue light can suppress melatonin, the hormone that helps us sleep.
Right.
Which is why which is why staring at screens at night can mess with our sleep cycle.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it stands to reason that the color temperature of LEDs in our homes and workplaces
Yeah.
could also be influencing our sleep, our mood, even our overall health in ways we're not yet fully aware of.
It very well could be. Yeah.
Hmm. So should we all be like switching to those warm toned LEDs just to be, to be on the safe side?
Well, it's not quite that simple.
Yeah.
Remember, we all have different sensitivities and preferences.
Right.
What might feel calming to one person might feel too dim or even depressing to another.
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot for each individual.
Exactly. And that's where further research is needed, to give us more personalized guidelines.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like there's a whole world of possibilities for using LEDs in ways that actually enhance our well-being.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe someday we'll have smart lighting systems that adjust the color temperature throughout the day to optimize our energy levels and sleep cycles.
I think that's definitely on the horizon. We're already seeing, the emergence of human-centric lighting designs.
Yeah.
That take into account our natural circadian rhythms and the impact of light on our biology.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But for now, what can we do as individuals to be more mindful of the LEDs in our lives?
Well, one simple step is to simply pay attention to how different types of LED lighting make you feel.
Okay.
If you notice that the bright, cool lights in your office are making you feel, jittery or anxious,
Yeah.
maybe try switching to a warmer tone desk lamp.
Oh.
And if you're struggling with sleep, dimming the lights in the evening and avoiding screen time before bed can make a big difference.
Those are great practical tips. This deep dive has been truly eye-opening. It's amazing to think that something as seemingly simple as the color of light can have such a profound impact on our brains and bodies.
It really is.
And it underscores the importance of staying curious and continuing to explore the world around us.
Well said. Well,
thank you so much for joining us on this illuminating journey into the world of colored light.
It's been my pleasure.
And to you, dear listener, we leave you with this final thought. The next time you flip on a light switch, take a moment to appreciate the power of light and the subtle ways it might be. It might be influencing your thoughts, your mood, even your health. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.